Hello, welcome to the video notes for lesson 11-5, exterior angles of triangles. This begins on page 26 in your notes packet. Let's go ahead and take a look at the learning targets for this lesson. The first one, I can determine the remote interior angle of a triangle given an exterior angle of the triangle. The second target, I can determine the exterior angle of a triangle given a remote interior angle. And the last one, I can solve algebra problems related to the remote and, I think it's supposed to say interior and exterior angles of a triangle. Alright, so lots of terms here, but some of them you have already heard before, like interior means inside, exterior means outside, solving problems is nothing new to us. The word remote might be a little confusing for some of you, but when we talk about it a little bit more, I think it'll make sense. Alright, so the first part of this lesson, we've got some terminology to understand here. An exterior angle of a triangle is an angle formed by a side and an extension of an adjacent side. Oops, let me underline that a little better. Alright, now first I want you to understand what the word adjacent means. The word adjacent means next to. So if I said two students are sitting adjacent to each other, that means they are next to each other, not across. Alright, so, and then the word exterior, you're already familiar with, means outside. So, when I'm looking at these three pictures, if we extend one of the sides of the triangle, it creates an exterior angle. Here, here, and here. So, these are the exterior angles. And yes, I want you to copy this down. Here, here, and let's go all the way around and point to here. Alright, so for each exterior angle of a triangle, the two non-adjacent interior angles are its remote interior angles. So, non-adjacent means not next to. Now, if you think of the word remote, you probably have used a remote control before. A remote control allows you to be somewhere else in the room but still control a device. In other words, you're not next to it. You might be on the other side of the room, but yet the remote still works. Well, the same thing is true here. So the remote interior angles, interior, remember, means inside, are the angles that are inside of the triangle, but that are not next to this exterior angle. So I'm looking at 2 and 3 in all three pictures. Notice that there is one angle that's left that's not talked about. That's the adjacent angle to angle 1. So these are the remote interior angles. And there's a very special relationship between the interior and exterior angles. We're going to take a look at some examples. This should be a very easy concept. As long as you're paying attention and as long as you do a little of the practice, you will be just fine and this will all make sense. Alright, so let's take a look at the bottom. Find the missing angles. Okay, well, the missing angle in this picture is X. Right away I notice I've got an exterior angle, but this exterior angle forms a straight line with the interior angle right here. So because it forms a straight line, these are supplementary. So I can do 180, so remember supplementary is equal to 180, minus 105, and that'll tell me this interior angle, and that's 75. So my interior angle here is 75. So now I have 2 out of the 3 angles that I need to make the triangle. And of course, we all remember that the sum of the angles of a triangle equals 180. So 180 minus, if I add 60 and 75 together, will give me this missing angle. Well, 60 plus 75 is 135. So 180 minus 135 is 55. Now obviously, you can check this by just simply adding all 3 angles. 60 plus 55, that's 115. I'm sorry. Is that right? This should not be, this should be 45, I'm sorry. Not 55. Whoops, mistake. Yeah, 180 minus 135 is 45, not 55. I gotta fix it everywhere now. Don't you just love making mistakes? I actually don't enjoy making mistakes, but I do enjoy spotting them and fixing them because it's a very powerful tool. So 60 plus 45 is 105. It's a good thing I did the check, otherwise I wouldn't have spotted that. 105 plus 75 is 180. Ding, ding, ding. And that's what I want, so that checks. So I know my missing angle here is 45 degrees. All right, over in the other picture, we have these 2 angles. We don't have this one, and we're trying to find this missing angle out here. Well, since we have these 2, we can find this one by taking the sums of 60 and 55. 60 plus 55 is 115, and then subtracting that from 180. And when I do that, I get 65, not 75. So this angle is 65 degrees. But I don't need this one, I need the one on the outside. But I can get that because these 2 together make 180, they're supplementary, they form a straight line. So 180 minus 65, and that's kind of like the opposite of what we just did up here, so we should see the answer is 115. Now that's a very interesting situation. Hopefully you recognize that we could have found this answer if we had noticed this relationship between this and this. So, and that's what we're going to talk about on the next page, page 27. So I'm going to clear the screen. If you need to copy anything down, pause the video. And here we go. The measure of an exterior angle, remember the outside one. So let me get my pen tool so I can mark this all up. The measure of an exterior angle of a triangle equals the sum of the measure of its 2 remote interior angles. So when I'm looking at my picture here, 1 and 2 are the remote interior angles. 4 is the exterior angle. And those are equal. The measures are. The sum of these 2 equals 4. And you should have recognized that from the problem we just did. All right, so let's take a look at a couple of quick examples. So determine the missing angle. So the missing angle here is 1, the exterior angle. So this is equal to 34 plus this angle here. Now you should recognize the little box in the corner means this is 90 degrees. Oh yeah, by the way, and I should be mentioning this more when we're doing this in class, Label everything in your picture. Always put your angles there. It's a great way to show work and helps you to see what you are doing. So remember, this exterior angle, the measure of angle 1, is equal to the sum of the two remote interior angles, so that's these two here. So equals 34 plus 90. Well, 34 plus 90, either get a calculator or do it in your head. That is equal to 124 degrees. So there's our answer. Measure of angle 1. Sorry, I forgot to write that. And write it here in the diagram so you can see it. And, you know, by putting it there, it'll help you to make sense. Let's say you did a little calculation error, or maybe you forgot to write the 4 and you just had 12. If you were to write 12 degrees here, hopefully your mind would say, wait a second, you might have done something wrong. Okay, let's use this same idea over here. Now, this time, I know it looks a little different, but this is still our exterior angle. The remote interior angles are here and here. Now, their sum equals this 71. If one of them is missing, how do I find it? Well, you take what you have, so that we're trying to find the measure of angle 2. You take what it's supposed to equal, that 71, and you subtract what you have, 43, and that'll give you your answer. So the measure of angle 2 is equal to 28. And of course, you can do 28 degrees. Sorry. You can do a check by just adding them and making sure that the total works out, 28 degrees. Okay, now we have an algebra problem at the bottom. I'm going to clear the screen, so if you need to finish copying, pause the video. Okay, now we're going to use all of this and create an algebra problem. Watch what I do. I'm going to be labeling everything right in my picture, right in my diagram. Given the measure of angle 1 is 26 degrees. Measure of angle 2 is 3x minus 1. I'm sorry, 3x minus 2. And the measure of angle 3 is 5x minus 8. What is the measure of angle 3? Notice I used my buck strategy, underline, circle, box, all that good stuff. Alright, so remember from what we learned up above, the remote interior angles 1 and 2, and they're not always going to be called 1 and 2. They might switch the numbers around, so don't just always add angle 1 and angle 2. So this is step 1. Equals the measure of the exterior angle. So the sum of the interior angles is equal to the measure of the exterior angle. Now plug in the numbers, or the expression. So angle 1 is 26 degrees, angle 2 is 3x minus 2, and angle 3 is 5x minus 8. Step 3, solve it. Okay, so we've got some like terms here. So 26 minus 2 is 24, so I have 3x plus 24 equals 5x minus 8. Some of you might want to subtract 24 from both sides. That's fine. I'm actually going to add 8 to both sides. I don't want to deal with negative numbers. You can. All of you are capable. 3x plus 32 equals 5x. This zeroes out. Now I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides, like terms. And you get 32 equals 2x. Not done yet. You got to divide by 2. Almost there. And you get 16 is equal to x. Now, a lot of people are going to stop right there, and that's not good. You've done a wonderful job solving for x. But we still have to find the measure of angle 3. Actually, I think we need to go ahead and find the measure of angle 2 and the measure of angle 3. 5x minus 8. And I'll show you why in just a minute. So what I'm going to do is substitute my 16 back in, and I get 48 minus 2. So the measure of angle 2, so I'm carrying this all the way through, equals 48 minus 2 is 46 degrees. So I have that. That's not my final answer yet. Measure of angle 3 is 5 times 16 minus 8, and all of you know that 5 times 16 is 80, and 80 minus 8 is the measure of angle 3, 72. Okay, now why did I do angle 2? Because I need to do a check. So this is step 4 here. Step 5 is the check. Here's the check. Angle 1 is 26 degrees. Angle 2 is 46, and that needs to equal 72. Well, 26 plus 46 does equal 72 degrees. So 72 equals 72, and we have a check. Whew! Fun stuff, I know. If you were confused by any of this, certainly go back and rewatch the video or come and see me for help. Good luck, and we will see you in math.